Hey creative friends, welcome to Traci Bautista Color. I wanted to share a peek into the summer Wildflower collection that I created. These are the pigment bars that I created for this collection. These are wax paint in a bar format, so they're made for mark making, for painting, either with them heated and with a brush, or you can use them for monotype, or you can use them just dry and regular just to draw and make marks. So I did a little swatching of some of the bars I created for this collection. Each one of them is a duotone. Sometimes there's up to 5 colors inside of a bar, depending on how you use it. Like this one, for instance, has a little, you can see some of the yellow in there, but there's a layer of this really beautiful peachy orange, and then there's a couple of different purples in this. So when you use it, you can either heat it, and I heated it with a quilting iron, and you get some really beautiful transparent, translucent marks. And then you can also use it dry and you get a little bit more textured marks. So I experimented with a couple of different papers. This is the Canson Sand Grain Mixed Media paper. So it's got a bit of a texture on it. And then this is just a little sample kind of sketch writing paper that I have, and it's very thin and smooth, which would make a really great collage paper. So each one of these swatches has one bar on it. So this one has the brown and the green on here, and you can see some of the mix of color in there. There's a little yellow and a couple of different greens in that one. And then this one's got a little bit of more of a blender bar on one side, and then when you look on the inside of it, it's got a bit of this ochre, kind of green ochre color, and you can see the marks that makes. There's a little bit of pink in that one, and you can see some of that metallic flake that ends up getting embedded into the wax when it is heated, and it'll transfer onto the page. So again, just wanted to show you some of these beautiful swatches and the mixtures of color you get with each of the bars. So there's a big range of really beautiful kind of floral inspired colors, and some of the different things that I've grown in my garden, also different botanical and community gardens that I recently visited that inspired some of these colors. And there's a nice range from fuchsia to purples to oranges to pinks and a bunch of different green colors. And then I have some that are mixed with a pink on the second side. So here's the range of colors that you get with this particular one. So you can see that you've got this really beautiful kind of undertone of that yellow green, almost lime kind of green color. And here's one that has a little bit of yellow and green and a little of that metallic flake on it. So it makes a few different beautiful mixtures of colors when you start to layer them. So just a peek at all of the different bars that I created. There was actually over, I don't know, probably 15 to 17 colors that I created for this collection. And each bar is unique. There are different layers of color, and then when you actually, if you were to slice some of these open in the middle, you'll see that there's even more kind of confetti in the middle, so you get different colors, like you can see a little bit on top here. And here on this one, there's a bit of different color on the top, and then if you slice into the center of that one, you'll get some more additional colors. So these are so much fun to make. They're all hand mixed and hand poured, and they're perfect for working with water media, with oil, with acrylics. There's a lot of different techniques that you can use these with, and different mediums that you can layer under and on top of. So I'm gonna share a little demo that shows you how I created these swatches. And also you can find a bunch more ideas and techniques on my YouTube channel, all about how to use the pigment bars with a variety of mixed media.
Awesome. Okay, so now I can show you my studio table and we can play for a little bit, and I'm going to show you how I've created these fun swatch cards and some of the techniques that you can do with the pigment bars and when they're heated. So let me switch my camera. I did a video that was showing some of the watercolors. So as I design the pigment bars and the paints, I usually have my paint making journal out. And this is one of the swatch books that I work in. And let's start with, those are all the spring colors. Let's go over here. This was also, I think this, oh yeah, here. This starts Wildflower. So I think, oh yeah, some of these are the Wildflower watercolors down at the bottom here. And then here are some of the other Wildflower colors. There was this one that I created, I don't know if you can tell. This one has this really pretty metallic sheen on it because it has a mica. The other ones are pretty much flat color, but then there was a couple that I added a little mica in, different colored micas. But you can kind of see the difference. So this is using the pigment bar dry and not heated, and that's using it heated, that particular color. So some of them are a little bit more noticeable. Like this one's definitely lighter when you use it dry versus when it is heated. And you can see the difference here. You can see the undertone of this. This was actually probably one of my favorite colors that I created for this collection. There's a variety of like lilacs to a little bit more like fuchsia purple, and then a little bit darker where I added a little bit more of a blue color in there. So that was the range of some of the pinks and purples in this particular collection. And then you can also see, so here, these were all dry too. So just a different mark. It looks, you know, a little bit more textured versus when you use it heated. I really love it both ways for different reasons, and depending on, you know, what you're going to be working on. But then this was a bunch of the different greens and oranges and kind of yellows. There's a little bit more mustardy yellow. There was a couple of yellows that were a little bit brighter, but for this collection I actually went more with like the ones that had a little bit more green in them. Those were really fun to make. So I usually just swatch them out as I'm creating them in this particular journal, and then I write down the pigments in a different journal. And then here are some inks and watercolors. So as I created this particular color, it started out here as like this light blue turquoisey color, and then I started to shift it as I mixed in a couple of the other colored pigments in there. And it's just really fun to see the progression of the paints. Not all of these colors make it into the collection because what I'm doing is swatching them out as I'm mixing, and then I get to a point where I either like it or I keep changing it a little bit. So this is just kind of my record. And then here's one of the shimmer sheer inks, which is really, really pretty, like light pink. It has a little purple undertone, but it's got this really fun. There's a couple of different shimmers in there. There's this really shimmery, like a little bit of a shimmery mica, and then there's this one that is a little bit more metallic flake, so it's a little bit thicker. I don't know if you can see it in there, but when you look at it closely, once you use it, you'll notice that there's bigger chunks of like a little metallic flake that like get embedded onto the page. So that's the process and like the progression of the colors as I develop them. And a lot of times, like in here, I don't write the recipe down. It's just mainly just swatching to see where I'm at as I'm mixing. Sometimes there I do put the pigment colors. This one, I actually put some of the pigment colors down for that one. But most of the time, this one's just like a purely swatching notebook. So if I go back to some of the other collections in here, this was the holiday maybe. Some of these are spring. Oh yeah, this is the holiday evergreens collection. So a lot of fun. Those were some of the watercolor colors, which I really love. This pink and that green and that kind of yellowy. It's like a mustardy, but it has like a green in it still. It's not like a very vibrant yellow, but it's really pretty. Those are some of the watercolors. Let's take these ones out because I think, oh yeah, this and that. So that I think is that one, and then I think that is this one. It's really interesting to see all of these things swatched out. So here's one of my trays. I have a baker's rack that I use to dry everything. Just trying to hold this so I don't burn myself. My studio assistant was here last week, and she did a bunch of swatching for me because I was going to test these on this paper, but also just to show the different colors inside the bars. So I had her swatch and then lay them out on here. And I brought this out because I wanted to show you a couple of things with the lighter colors, the ones that have like, look like they don't have as much color in them, like that one. And this one's kind of fun too because that one, oh, and this one, oh, and I'll tell you about these little minis in a minute too. So I encourage you to do this kind of swatching. So this is all the dried colors. So it's just using them on both sides. And then sometimes, like I had her kind of mix them together too if they had multiple colors. You can do that on your own, and you can choose whatever paper. These were actually just like index cards that I found at Daiso, just because I wanted to see how they would look on that paper. These were some of my favorite swatches that I did. I'm going to pull these out so I can show you. To get this organized a little bit here. So here, I love this one too. It's really fun, especially when they mix right here. These two kind of overlap, and it's because it has a little of that orange at the top of it. There's like two different purples and this orange on here, so you can really see it come through as I swatched it out. This is on the Canson XL sand grain paper also, but it's the gray toned paper. It's one of my favorite papers to play with. I'll show you this on here so you can see. So here on this side is that kind of orangey color, and then I've got a little of the purple on there, and then if I want to mix them, this side has a little of both, so then you get that mixture, and then you get this really pretty like peachy sunset color that comes with that once you mix them together. But the beauty in this is that when you use this heated, it changes the texture of the bar, and also this paper is textured, so I'm probably going to get a little bit of texture on here. We're going to do this a couple of ways. So I'm going to start with, let's do it this. So I'm just going to heat it a little bit here, and then just kind of swatch it. I'm making a mess over there. With that, you can also take the iron and kind of move it, but I'm just using the iron to heat it up so that I get the color mix. There's even a little bit of green in this one too. Hold on, I'm making a mess. Move this out of the way. When it's still warm, it also makes a really pretty mark too. You get a little bit more blendable qualities with it when it's still like semi hot. It dries pretty, it gets back to cool pretty quickly, because then you can get that more of that textured look. And again, that depends on the paper that you're using. This is this one bar. I can get like four different colors, and then you can also kind of scrape through this, and then you get to see some of that undertone of each of the pigments that's in there. So it shows like a dark purple, but once you scrape it back, you get that little bit of that lighter kind of reddish purple color under there. So this is beautiful. It's like reminds me of like a southwestern sunset, like desert sunset. That's what this little quilting iron is great for. You can get that kind of smooth color. So I want to show you one like this one. Here you can see it's like very light in color when you use it dry. Just clean this off. So you just need another piece of paper to clean this off. I just wipe it right on there. Once I kind of do a little swatching on here, some of that color is going to come out, and you'll see there's a little bit of blue in the center of this one. So as I melt it a little bit, then it comes out, and this one's a little bit more textured. Not sure why. It could be the pigment. It's not from this collection. I just happened to pull that out because Avalon was doing the swatching for me the other day. But that one's really pretty too. But you see how sometimes there's not a lot of color because it's got like a blender bar on it. We'll do one on the gray tone, and then I have the mixed media paper. So I always recommend starting with doing, a little bit of the swatching first, and then you can start really kind of playing and then creating more of like artwork with it. But at least it gives you an idea of the colors that you can get with one bar. So you can see how much darker it got when I put it down heated, and then I use the rest of this to just wipe off or to color in. There's a little bit of a darker green in the center of that one too, but you can also take and mix some of the other bars. Let's do this one here. A little of this brown and green. That one's really pretty on top of there. So you can really start to layer. If you want the colors not to mix, you want to let this dry a little bit first before you do it. Like this one here, I started playing around with this, and then I added a little dab of a pink bar on top. So you can see how you can get some really abstract mark making with the bars and a variety of them. I can take this and also just kind of paint and apply. I'm just moving this color that's on there onto here. So you can also clean it off on paper, but you can also, kind of paint with it too and get a little bit more like detailed work. So I'm going to take this little guy here, and like if I just wanted a little tiny bit, I can just take the edge of that and then, add that color in there. And that one is really pretty deep purple. Then I can also take it and just color, with it and make some more bold marks. But I love what happens when it's heated, because you can get that really deep, dark color. So if I wanted to put a little bit of this pink into this one, I can just add it right in that little space. And I'm holding this up so it doesn't drip too much, because then I could put it on another paper. So the fun thing with the quilting iron is that you don't have a lot of control over what the marks that you get when you put it down there, but you can kind of make designs in there if you wanted to. Like you could use the tip and kind of scrape out lines and move some of the color around with the edge if you wanted to do that. I can also then take just a little, like if I want a little bit of this green in there, and just dab it in there for another color. So I'm making all these like tiny little vignettes or samplers. Then I could take this idea and do it larger on a canvas. And if I wanted to work on a canvas, I could use a bigger iron, or I could still use the quilting iron. I could also use the griddle and have a lot more to play with if I melt it or paint with the brushes and get like bigger areas of color. There's a couple of ways you can use these. These are the papers that came inside of the Pigment Bars box. So you can draw right on here and just like lay down color. You can use this as a little transfer. So you can do this just with the end of your paintbrush or a stylus, and you know, just kind of doodle and draw, and you can get a little bit of color on there. So it's a fun way to transfer that. And then this, since this is wax, if you used ink or watercolor with it, that would act as a resist. So it's a fun way to get some like really fine lines in with the pigment bars. I could also see if, oh, let's see, I have this little tool I made out of, these are like, I think for your teeth, I don't know, I forget what they're called, but my friend Lisa Engelbrecht, who was an amazing mixed media calligrapher, she passed a few years back, but she's the one who showed me these little things. I think you're supposed to use them like as toothpicks. I don't know what they're called, but that makes a really fun mark also. That's kind of fun. You can get, you know, lots of different, it's just a little different way to add the color onto the page. Wherever there's no paint left, if I do a whole swipe of that color, then you get to see some of the reverse of where I had actually taken some of that color out. So this can be a really fun technique. You could actually color through stencils and then transfer that way to play with it. And you can kind of keep reusing this paper. If I wanted to add a little bit more color on here, I could just keep kind of layering it on there and then do the same thing. I'm not really designing anything. I'm just kind of layering things like so. But this would be fun as a resist. Like I could take all this color that's left on here. Let's just put it on here and see. Just be careful not to burn yourself. Let's grab one of the inks. What color is this? This is a purpley color. I'll put a little in a tray. I think this is the same color. We'll just use that. And then I can use this as a little resist. Just need a brush. And then everywhere that the pigment bar is will act as a resist. You can still see some of these peeking through. As it dries, you'll see more of that wax come through. And then you can also use it as, you know, once this is dry, you can use the pigment bar on top of it too. So I encourage you to have some fun playing with the pigment bars and doing some swatching with them. like so. So you can really see the different marks you can get, the different color mixtures, and then you can get more adventurous. And then you can start doing some fun color mixing. So I could take a little bit of this on here and, you know, kind of bring this, grab a little bit more, and I can, you know, make some colors this way, or oops, forgetting this is not center. That pink is so pretty. I do like what happens with when it just drops the little dots on there. Let's do a little of this lighter pink on here. And you just have to remember that this thing is really hot, so you just got to be careful when you are playing with these. And then you can use this, you can keep it like that. You can use it as a resist if you wanted to with paints, different watercolor, different acrylic, and do a little bit of scrape back with that. I love using the pigment bars as a resist with acrylic paint. And I think I've shown that in a couple of different videos. I want to show you one of these little fun confetti bars and then we'll wrap there. Let's see, what other paper do I have in here? Oh, here. Some pastel paper, and one of my favorites to paint on is the Pastel Matte by Clairefontaine. I did a video of that maybe a year or two ago on my on my YouTube channel. And I think I put it in the playlist, the Pigment Bar playlist. So here is this confetti bar. It's got a lot of little different colors on top, and as you use it, like there's turquoise, there's a little red, there's a little pink in there, but if you use the top of this, you can start to see some of those fun colors pop out. I'm just going to do a little mixing. And then you get to see kind of the different colors that are on there. That one's kind of fun. So purple, blue, a little pink, a little kind of like tan color, I think that's in there too. And then I can come back in with another color, and then I'm just going to mix in a little bit of this and do like a little glaze on top, and then it changes it just slightly. It adds a little bit of that pink over it. So that's another fun way. You can actually keep building layers with the pigment bars a little bit at a time to slightly alter the color. I'm just going to clean this off on here. This is starting to look really pretty. I love that. Almost looks like an ocean right there with the sun setting. That is a few different fun mixtures of the pigment bars, heated and dry, and different papers. Really experiment with the different papers because they give you totally different looks. This is like a watercolor paper, like a really thin watercolor paper. This is the XL Canson sand grain. I love that kind of texture, like doing it over super matte medium would be really pretty too. and then this is just like a sketch paper, so it's really non-textured, so you get definitely like a smoother, see that line there versus here, you see a lot more of the paper in that one. And then you can do some fun layering with them, with the different colors, to do some fun abstract painting. I hope you enjoyed that little fun peek into the process of using pigment bars. I hope you enjoyed that. Would love to see if you create any of the swatches. I'll find a link for that quilting iron. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon. Mine is really old. Let me turn it off, by the way, so I don't burn anything. And let's just make sure it doesn't fall. So have fun playing and swatching. Every one of these, I do different swatching. Like this time it was pigment bars. Last time I think I did more of the watercolors. So I tried to mix it up so you get a little insider's peek into different ways you can use all of the different products. And I really hope that you're enjoying them and having fun. And for those of you who are subscribers, thank you so much for being part of the subscriptions. I'll be sharing more in October of the coming up months and or the coming up year for 2025, and some of the subscriptions I'll be having then. And until then, if you're part of the 7 collection, I am going to be closing. If you want to upgrade, if you're a Water Media Play subscriber and you want to upgrade to a collector's box, I'm gonna send an email out. Your last chance is by this weekend, because then we're gonna start diving in and making them. And then if you want to purchase a mini collection of the box, or I think I have one more set of watercolors that is available, and then a full set of the pigment bars. If you are a Pigment Bar subscriber and you want to just keep your regular box for next time, you'll get a selection of the colors, which means you'll get 4. If you grab the 7 box, you'll get 7 bars, which is 14 colors. I will send out a couple more emails over the weekend, and I'm going to share a little bit more of what we're going to be doing inside of the Pigment Play online experience, and hopefully I will see more of you in there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and thank you again so much for joining me live, if you're here live, and if you're watching this on the replay, thanks again. And have fun playing with all of my fun Traci Bautista color products. Thanks everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.